All right, settle in. Grab a brew. There's a saying, isn't there? An Englishman's home is his castle. It's a lovely thought. But let's be honest. What if that castle is a one-bed flat with dodgy wiring, the moat is a puddle of inflation, and the drawbridge is stuck on a 0 hours contract? Where, in this green and pleasant land, can you actually build a life, not just service a mortgage? That's the big question, and I'm going to try to answer it. For the last few months, I've been on a bit of a mission. A mad quest, really. I've been digging through the numbers, talking to locals, and getting the real story on all 48 of England's ceremonial counties. And today, I'm going to rank them. All of them. From rock bottom at number 48, all the way up to the top of the pops at number 1. This isn't just about house prices, though. We'll have plenty of those. This is a proper shakeup. I'm blending the cost of a home, the average rent, what you can actually expect to earn, the vibe, the community, the quality of a pint, and whether you're likely to get your car nicked. Right then. Are you ready? Let's start the countdown at the very bottom. Starting at the very bottom of the pile, number 48, it's the West Midlands. Now, this isn't just one place, it's a sprawling, complex beast. It's the industrial heart of England. It's home to Britain's second city, Birmingham, the historic Black Country, and some surprisingly posh suburbs. The vibe here is you've got the relentless 24/7 energy of central Birmingham, which feels like it's constantly being rebuilt. Then, you've got the gritty, no-nonsense, and genuinely funny character of the Black Country. And then, just a few miles away, you find the leafy, almost sleepy prosperity of places like Solihull. All right, the numbers here tell a story of division. The median home price across the West Midlands is officially around £244,000 to £288,000. If you're looking to rent, you can expect to pay an average of about £1,026 a month. But here's the really tricky bit. The median household income is all over the shop. It can be as low as £21,209 in some parts of Birmingham, or shoot up to nearly £60,000 in the poshest bits of Solihull. So, where's the smart money? If you've got a decent budget, I will point you towards Solihull, which consistently ranks as the safest and most prosperous part of the county. For a more creative, up-and-coming vibe in Birmingham, you'll hear names like Sturchley and Bourneville. Yes, the one Cadbury built. Now, the crime stats aren't pretty for some spots. You need to be more cautious in West Bromwich, parts of central Birmingham, and Wolverhampton. And an unavoidable con of the West Midlands. It's facing a brutal housing and health crisis. House prices have shot up an eye-watering 83% in a decade, while wages have crawled up by just 27%. This has created an absolute affordability nightmare, with a staggering 125,000 families stuck on social housing waiting lists. Right next door at number 47, we have South Yorkshire. Another county forged in the fires of the Industrial Revolution. It's made up of Sheffield, Rotherham, Barnsley, and Doncaster. It shares a lot of that same post-industrial DNA with the West Midlands, but it has its own unique flavor. The vibe is undeniably northern. It's down to earth, friendly in a way that can feel a bit blunt if you're not used to it, and Sheffield, the Steel City, is reinventing itself as a vibrant, green, creative hub, but many of the surrounding towns are still dealing with the fallout from the decline of coal and steel. Let's get into the numbers. A median-priced home in South Yorkshire will set you back around £226,000. Renting, you're probably looking at an average of around £850 a month. But, like in many northern counties, the wages can be a sticking point. The median household income for the Yorkshire and the Humber region is one of the lowest in England. If you're looking for the best spots, Sheffield is the safest of the major urban areas. Within the city, you'll find leafy, desirable suburbs like Fulwood and Dore. On the other hand, the crime risk scores are highest in Doncaster, Rotherham, and Barnsley. Even within Sheffield, some central neighborhoods like Cathedral and Kelham post some seriously high crime stats, particularly for public order offenses and violence. The major con for South Yorkshire has issues like substance dealing, antisocial behavior with kids on dirt bikes, and a general sense of neglect. But let's finish with a classic Yorkshire joke. A Barnsley man with piles asks the chemist, "Now then, lad, does that sell arse cream?" The chemist replies, "Aye, Magnum or Cornetto." At number 46, we land in Bedfordshire, a small landlocked county that often feels like it's caught between worlds. It's a place of contrasts, with the urban sprawl and industrial buzz of Luton and Bedford on one side, and quiet rural villages on the other. Its proximity to London and the M1 corridor defines much of its character and its challenges. The vibe is fast-paced, multicultural energy of Luton, heavily influenced by its airport and London connections, alongside the more traditional, county town feel of Bedford, with its beautiful riverside setting. Central Bedfordshire offers a more rural, slower pace of life. Let's get to the numbers. The average house price in Bedfordshire is a mixed bag, with Bedford at around £327,000 and Central Bedfordshire at £358,000. Renting is also a tale of two halves. You could be looking at an average of £1,020 a month in Bedford, or £1,138 in Central Bedfordshire. For the best spots, if you're after a quieter life, Leighton Linslade is ranked as the safest area in the county. In Bedford itself, the Castle Quarter and the Embankment are highly sought after for their Victorian charm and community feel. And Luton is consistently flagged as the most dangerous major town in Bedfordshire, with Bedford and Dunstable also having higher crime rates. Sliding in at number 45 is the powerhouse of the North, Greater Manchester. This isn't just a county, it's a sprawling, energetic city region encompassing 10 distinct boroughs, from the urban core of Manchester and Salford to the towns of Bolton, Wigan, and Rochdale. The vibe is electric, creative, and unapologetically northern. Manchester city centre itself is a hub of nightlife, music, and business, with a youthful, university town energy. The surrounding boroughs each have their own character. You can walk from one side of the city centre to the other. Let's look at the numbers. The average house price across Greater Manchester is around £272,000, though this varies wildly from borough to borough. Renting in the city of Manchester itself will set you back an average of £1,312 a month. The median household income for the region is just under £28,000, which is lower than the England average. So, where are the good spots? For safety, Trafford consistently ranks as the best borough in Greater Manchester. For a vibrant central lifestyle, young professionals and students flock to areas like the Northern Quarter, Castlefield, and Ancoats. Now, where to be careful? The crime stats are stark. The city of Manchester itself has the highest crime rate in the region and one of the highest in the country. Oldham, Salford, and Rochdale also have significantly high crime rates. At number 44, we have West Yorkshire. It's a county of dramatic valleys and proud, historic cities like Leeds, Bradford, and Wakefield. Like its southern counterpart, it was at the heart of the Industrial Revolution, and that legacy of grit, innovation, and strong communities is still very much alive today. The vibe is a real mix of urban energy and stunning natural beauty. You've got the thriving, modern city of Leeds, which is a major hub for retail, finance, and nightlife, surrounded by the rugged beauty of the Pennines and the Yorkshire Dales on its doorstep. The people are famously straight-talking and friendly, and there's a rich cultural heritage, from the Bronte sisters in Haworth to the art of David Hockney in Bradford. Let's get into the numbers. The average house price in West Yorkshire is an affordable £234,000. Renting is also reasonable, with a two-bedroom flat in Leeds going for around £1,400 a month. However, the median household income is just over £30,000, which, while not the lowest, still makes the housing market a stretch for many local families. For the best spots, Leeds is the safest of the major urban areas. Within Leeds, upmarket neighborhoods like St. Leonard's are popular with families, while the Quay attracts young professionals. On the flip side, the crime risk scores are highest in Wakefield and Bradford. The major con for West Yorkshire. While Leeds is booming, other areas are struggling with a shitty vibe of decline, crime, and a lack of opportunity. And why do 50 pence pieces have corners on? So you can get them out of a Yorkshireman's hand with a spanner. Coming in at number 43 is Tyne and Wear. This is a county with a massive heart and centered around the River Tyne and its major cities, Newcastle upon Tyne and Sunderland. The vibe is famously friendly and down to earth. People here are known for being welcoming and always up for a laugh. Newcastle is a compact city that's easy to get around, with a legendary nightlife, and you've also got a stunning coastline and beautiful countryside just a short trip away. It's a place that offers a great quality of life without the huge price tag of the South. Let's talk numbers. The average house price is just £202,000. Rent is also low, with the Northeast having the cheapest average rent in England at around £701 a month. The catch, as is often the case, is income. The median net household income is one of the lowest in the country at around £28,300. For the best spots, Washington, Gateshead, and Newcastle upon Tyne are the safest of the major urban areas. Within Newcastle, student-friendly areas like Heaton are popular. On the other hand, the crimes are highest in South Shields, Tynemouth, and Sunderland, and the major con of Tyne and Wear is deprivation and a weak local economy. At number 42, we have Essex. Now, this is a county that has to deal with a lot of stereotypes, but it's a far more complex and varied place than TV shows might have you believe. It's a county of huge contrasts, from the urban, London overspill towns in the south to the deeply rural and beautiful countryside in the north. The vibe is fast-paced, commuter belt energy in towns like Basildon and Harlow, which have strong links to London. Then you got Colchester, Britain's oldest recorded town. And then there are the picturesque, quiet villages like Castle Hedingham that feel a world away from the city. Being so close to London, property isn't cheap. The average house price is around £400,000, with a median of £355,000. Renting will set you back around £1,300 to £1,450 a month on average, with a median household income of around £37,000. For the best spots, if safety is your priority, the Uttlesford and Malden as the safest areas in the county. For a more prestigious feel, villages like Stock are highly sought after. But Southend, Harlow, and Basildon consistently have the highest crime rates in the county. At number 41, we have County Durham, a county of breathtaking beauty and a tough industrial past. It's home to the world-famous Durham Cathedral and Castle, the rugged landscapes of the North Pennines, and a string of former mining towns and villages that are still finding their feet after the decline of coal. The vibe is a mix of historic grandeur and post-industrial grit. Durham City itself is a stunning, cultured hub, dominated by its university. The surrounding countryside is beautiful. However, the county, as a whole, has a feeling of being left behind, with many communities still grappling with the social and economic scars left by the closure of the mines. But housing is very affordable. The average house price is just £136,000, making it one of the cheapest counties in England. Rent is also very low, averaging around £604 a month. The problem is income. The gross disposable household income per head is one of the lowest in the country at around £17,904, well below the UK average. For the best spots, if safety is your main concern, the Ecclescliffe and Durham City itself are among the safest areas. On the other hand, the crime risk scores are highest in the former industrial towns of Shildon, Peterlee, and Ferryhill. And that brings us to the major con of County Durham: the deep-rooted deprivation and lack of economic opportunity. The county has a higher than average proportion of neighborhoods in the most deprived 10% of England. And we'll have to borrow one from our American cousins, who have a Durham of their own, as local jokes are hard to come by. Why are Durham drivers so bad? Because they don't signal and they litter. At number 40, it's Nottinghamshire, a county of legends, famous for Robin Hood, Sherwood Forest, and a rich industrial history built on coal and lace. It's the student-filled city of Nottingham at its heart, surrounded by former mining towns and rolling countryside. The vibe in Nottingham City is youthful, energetic, and diverse, thanks to its two large universities. and property in Nottinghamshire is relatively affordable, with an average house price of around £260,000. Renting in the city of Nottingham averages around £982 a month. For the best spots, if you're looking for a bargain, Mansfield and Ashfield are good for their low house prices. For a better quality of life, areas like Bassetlaw and Newark and Sherwood rank higher. Where to be cautious? Nottingham city centre has the highest crime rate in the county by a significant margin. Areas like St. Anne's and Bulwell also have reputations for being dangerous. At number 39, in the heart of the Midlands, Leicestershire, a county known for its rich history, from the discovery of King Richard III in a car park to its Roman past. It's one of the most multicultural counties in the UK, with the city of Leicester being a vibrant melting pot of cultures and cuisines. The vibe is diverse and bustling. Leicester City is famous for its Golden Mile and its quality of life, with beautiful countryside, the emerging national forest, and historic market towns like Melton Mowbray, the home of the pork pie. And what do you call a duck in Leicester? Eye up me duck! Let's talk numbers. The average house price in the city of Leicester is an affordable £224,000. Renting in the city is also reasonable, averaging around £997 a month. The median household income for the East Midlands region is on the lower side. For the best spots, if you're looking for safety and a good quality of life, Market Harborough, Loughborough, and Melton Mowbray are considered the safest larger towns. For a more rural feel with good connections, the village of Siston is a popular choice. Where to be cautious? The city of Leicester itself is ranked as the most dangerous area in the county, with crime rates significantly higher than the rest of Leicestershire. Colville and Wigston also have higher crime rates. Coming in at number 38 is Merseyside. Dominated by the city of Liverpool, this is a county with a massive global reputation for music, sport, and its unique, defiant character. It's a place of incredible architecture, a rich maritime history, and some of the friendliest and funniest people you'll ever meet. The vibe is energetic, creative, and incredibly welcoming. Liverpool is known as one of the friendliest cities in the country, with a strong sense of community and a down-to-earth attitude. Outside the city, you'll find beautiful coastlines in places like Crosby and Southport. Let's get into the numbers. Merseyside is one of the most affordable metropolitan counties. The average house price is around £231,000. Renting in Liverpool is also cheap, with an average of £906 a month. The downside is the economy. The median household income is low at around £30,300, and Liverpool has one of the highest unemployment rates for a major city in the UK. For the best spots, if you're looking for safety, Southport and Birkenhead are ranked as the safest larger towns. For a more bohemian, independent vibe, Lark Lane and Sefton Park are very popular with young professionals and families. Where to be cautious? Liverpool is the most dangerous city in the county, with Wallasey and St. Helens also having high crime rates. At number 37, we have Staffordshire. Located in the heart of the Midlands, this is a county of contrasts. From the industrial heritage of the potteries in Stoke-on-Trent to the stunning natural beauty of Cannock Chase and the Peak District. It's a place of quiet market towns, canals, and a history shaped by pottery, brewing, and coal. The vibe is generally down-to-earth and unpretentious. Stafford is a thriving market town with good travel links, while Lichfield boasts a magnificent cathedral and a more historic, genteel feel. Stoke-on-Trent has a unique character forged by its pottery industry, but like many industrial centres, it faces significant challenges. Overall, it's a county that offers a quieter, more affordable way of life. The average house price across the county is around £253,000. Renting is also cheap, with an average in Stafford of around £954 a month. However, the median household income is low at around £33,100, and some areas like Cannock Chase have seen wages stagnate, making them among the lowest earning areas in the UK. For the best spots, if safety is your priority, Lichfield and Burntwood are ranked as the safest towns in the county. Where to be more cautious? Stoke-on-Trent is the most dangerous place in Staffordshire, with Cannock and Tamworth also having higher crime rates. At number 36, we find ourselves in the Red Rose County, Lancashire. The vibe is a classic northern blend of warmth, straight talking, and a healthy dose of cynicism. This is a place of real grit and real beauty, often in the same postcode. You've got the wild, wind-swept moors of the Forest of Bowland, the faded seaside glamour of Blackpool, and a string of proud post-industrial towns like Burnley, Blackburn, and Preston. It's a county that powered the world once, and it hasn't forgotten it. It's a place where you can still get a decent pint for a reasonable price. The median house price across Lancashire is one of the most affordable in England, at around £214,000. Rent in the western part of the county averages about £747 a month. The catch? You guessed it, wages. The median gross annual salary for residents is just over £30,000, which is significantly lower than the UK average. It's that classic affordability paradox. The houses are cheap, but for many locals, they're still a major stretch. So where should you be looking? For safety, the stats point to places like Otten, Longton, and Barnoldswick. These are often quieter, more rural spots that offer a great quality of life if you're not chasing a city buzz. And where to avoid? The crime data consistently flags Blackpool as the most dangerous place in the county, with Accrington and Backup also scoring poorly on crime risk. And a recent report highlighted widespread feelings of neglect among rural communities, with people believing they've been overlooked for years. At number 35, we have Shropshire. A deeply rural and historic county on the border with Wales, it's often called the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, thanks to the Iron Bridge Gorge. It's a county of rolling hills, medieval market towns, and a distinctly peaceful, slower pace of life. The vibe is overwhelmingly rural and tranquil. It's a place where food provenance is a big deal, with a strong agricultural heritage and a thriving scene of artisan producers. The market towns like Shrewsbury, Ludlow, and Bridgnorth are packed with history, independent shops, and a strong sense of community. It's a haven for walkers and cyclists, with the Shropshire Hills designated as an area of outstanding natural beauty. For the best spots, if you're looking for safety, Lilshall, Newport, and Market Drayton as being among the safest areas. The town of Ludlow is a foodie paradise and consistently wins awards for its quality of life. Let's look at the numbers. The average house price in Shropshire is around £282,000. Renting is also reasonable, with an average of about £786 a month. And the average annual gross salary is just over £31,000. Where to be cautious? The new town areas around Telford, such as Madeley and Sturchley and Brookside, have the highest crime rates. And some parts of Shrewsbury, like Harlescott and Ditherington, also have a reputation for being rougher. And the major con is the rural premium and hidden poverty. While it's a beautiful place to live, the cost of living can be disproportionately high for those on low local wages. Breaking into the top 34, we have the city and county of Bristol, a place with a fiercely independent spirit and a rich history, sometimes controversial. It's a city of hills, harbors, and hot air balloons, with a unique and energetic character. The vibe is cool, creative, and a bit edgy. It's a city that blends grand Georgian architecture with a vibrant underground music and art scene. From the streets of Clifton to the bohemian buzz of Stokes Croft, Bristol is a city of distinct neighborhoods, each with its own identity. For the best spots, if you can afford it, Clifton and Redland are the most desirable and safest neighborhoods, known for their beautiful architecture and excellent schools. For a more affordable but still vibrant option, Bedminster and St. George are popular choices. Where to be cautious? Central Bristol, Hotwells, and Harbourside, and Lawrence Hill have the highest crime rates in the city. Let's talk numbers. Bristol is not a cheap place to live. The average house price is a hefty £352,000. Rent is also very high, with the average hitting an eye-watering £1,753 a month. The average salary is a decent £30,288, and the gap between the rich and the poor is obscene and very noticeable. This manifests in a severe housing crisis, visible homelessness, and high crime rates in the more deprived areas. It's a city that is rapidly going downhill. At number 33, we arrive in the vast, flat expanse of Lincolnshire. This is a county defined by its landscape, huge skies, fertile farmland, and a long, windswept coastline. It's home to the magnificent Lincoln Cathedral, the traditional seaside resorts of Skegness and Cleethorpes, and a whole lot of fields. The vibe is generally quiet, traditional, and deeply rural. Life moves at a slower pace. It's the kind of place where you can find proper market towns that haven't been completely taken over by chain stores. But that rural character comes with challenges. For many, especially in the more isolated parts of the fens or the wolds, it can feel cut off. Public transport is a real issue, and you'll be heavily reliant on a car. For the best spots, Stamford is just beautiful, and North Hykeham and Bourne are among the safest places to live. On the flip side, the seaside resort of Skegness and the towns of Scunthorpe and Gainsborough are ranked as the most dangerous in the county based on crime risk scores. Let's talk numbers. Property here is very affordable on a national scale. The median price across the county is around £236,000, and in the city of Lincoln itself, it's as low as £184,000. Rent in Lincoln averages about £893, and it's likely a bit lower in the more rural towns. The problem is that wages are also low. The median household income is just over £30,000. It's one of England's most rural counties, and that shapes everything about life here, since we're in a farm country. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. At number 32, we have Derbyshire, a county of stunning contrasts, from the rugged wild beauty of the Peak District in the north to the industrial heritage of Derby and the former coalfields in the south. The vibe is a tale of two halves. The north is dominated by the Peak District, offering a tranquil, outdoorsy lifestyle in picturesque towns like Bakewell and Buxton. The south is more urban, centered around the city of Derby, a hub of engineering and innovation. For the best spots, if you're looking for safety, Glossop and Long Eaton are ranked as the safest, larger towns. For a more desirable, village-like feel close to the city, Littleover and Darley Abbey are highly sought after. And the average house price across Derbyshire is an affordable £260,000, with an average in Derby of around £840 a month. The median household income is around £31,300. While the county is famed for its beauty, it also has hidden pockets of significant disadvantage and poverty. The crime data points to Ilkeston and the city of Derby as having the highest crime rates in the county, the growing pressure on infrastructure and the threat to its green spaces. The county is facing a huge demand for new housing, with hundreds of sites identified for potential development. Now, a quick word on the Big Smoke. I am including Greater London and the City of London in this list, but they are complete outliers, economic and social behemoths that skew every national average. So, to do them justice, they're getting their own separate monster of a video. Consider it a bonus feature. At number 31, we have a real anomaly, the City of London, the famous Square Mile. This isn't a county in the traditional sense. It's the ancient core from which the rest of London grew. It's a global financial powerhouse, packed with skyscrapers, historic institutions, and very, very few residents. The vibe here is pure business. During the week, it's a chaotic swarm of sharp suits, frantic trading, and eye-watering lunch prices. At the weekend, it can feel eerily quiet, a concrete canyon emptied of its workforce. It's a place of immense wealth and power, but it lacks the community feel and amenities of a normal residential area. For the best spots, well, it's all pretty exclusive. The Barbican Estate is a famous example of brutalist architecture and offers a unique, if expensive, living experience. Let's get into the numbers because they are frankly ridiculous. The average house price in the City of London is a staggering £902,000. Rent is just as mind-boggling, with an average of £2,760 a month. To afford this, you need a colossal income. And the major con, it's not really a place to live. It's a place to work. It lacks the basic amenities that make a community function. Schools, affordable shops, green spaces, and a sense of neighborhood. It's a place defined by its environmental problems, from some of the worst air pollution in the country to a lack of green space and a huge amount of waste. It's a fascinating, powerful place, but not a homely one. For London, I'll go with a classic London pun. Why did the chicken cross the North Circular Road? To get from Finchley to Hendon. At number 30, we have the big one, Greater London. Sprawling, chaotic, incredible metropolis of 9 million people. It's the political, economic, and cultural capital of the UK, a true world city. Ranking it is almost impossible, as it's a collection of 32 distinct boroughs, from the leafy suburbs of Richmond to the edgy streets of Hackney. The vibe is a whirlwind. It's a city of endless opportunity, culture, and diversity. You can find any kind of food, see any kind of show, and meet any kind of person. It's a city that never sleeps, but it's also a city of immense pressure. The pace of life is relentless, the transport system is a daily battle, and the sheer cost of everything can be crushing. For the best spots, if you have an unlimited budget, Kensington and Chelsea and Westminster are the most exclusive boroughs. For a safer, more suburban feel, Kingston upon Thames and Richmond upon Thames are highly rated. The numbers are, of course, off the charts. The average house price across Greater London is a staggering £673,000. Rent is astronomical, with an average of over £2,000 a month, and much higher in central areas. The crime rates are a major issue. Westminster has the highest crime rate in London. Boroughs like Hackney, Tower Hamlets, and Newham in East London also have very high crime rates. And the brutal cost of living crisis is the major con of Greater London. For a joke, I'll go with a classic. Knock knock. Who's there? Your neighbor. Look, mate, this is London. I don't want to know you. Slotting into the middle of the pack, we have the East Riding of Yorkshire. This is a vast, quiet, and often overlooked county. It's a place of subtle beauty, from the rolling chalk hills of the Yorkshire wolds that inspired David Hockney, to the dramatic bird cliffs at Bempton, and the unique, windswept spit of land at Spurn Point. The vibe is down to earth and deeply agricultural. This is not the dramatic, tourist-heavy Yorkshire of the Dales. It's a much quieter, more reserved place. The market town of Beverley is an absolute gem with its stunning minster, but much of the county feels properly remote. And the numbers, the median home price is very affordable at around £210,000. Average rent range is approximately £650 to £850. The median household income is around £32,000, which is on the lower end. Beverley is the undisputed jewel, a truly beautiful and historic market town. The villages in the Yorkshire wolds, like Walkington, are lovely and offer a peaceful rural life. The coastline around Flamborough Head is spectacular for walks, and areas to avoid. The city of Hull has some of the most deprived neighborhoods in the country. Areas like Bridlington, away from the seafront, also face significant economic challenges common to East Coast seaside towns. The major con is isolation and economic disparity. The East Riding can feel like it's a long way from anywhere, with poor transport links connecting it to the rest of the north. All right, let's get controversial and hop across the Solent to the Isle of Wight. This isn't just a county, it's a statement. Living here means you've actively chosen to put a body of water between you and the rest of England. It's famous for dinosaurs, Tennyson, and being England's very own holiday island. The vibe here is a tale of two seasons. In summer, it's all go festivals, yachts, tourists everywhere, a proper buzz. But come winter, the island takes a deep breath out. Things get quiet, very quiet. It's got a fiercely independent spirit, and locals, or cockheads, have a very distinct identity. If you move here from the mainland, you'll forever be known as an overner. It's not an insult, but you'll never quite be one of them. And looking at best neighborhoods and spots, locals will point you towards places like Cowes for its sailing scene and posh vibe, or the quieter, pretty villages like Shanklin Old Village and God's Hill. Ventnor. And the numbers. The median home price is around £301,490, which feels steep for an island with lower wages. With the average rent range, you're looking at about £850 to £1,100 a month for a two-bedroom. And median household income is the kicker. It's low, around £28,500. Some parts of the bigger towns can be a bit rough around the edges. Areas in Newport and Ryde, away from the seafronts, have higher rates of petty crime and could do with a bit more investment. It's not exactly the Bronx, but it's where the island's social problems are most visible. The major con is something locals grimly refer to as the paradise tax. Everything costs more here, from your pint of milk to getting your car fixed. But the real gut punch is the ferry. Want to visit someone on the mainland? That'll be a king's ransom, thank you very much. Why did the man from the Isle of Wight get confused at the traffic lights on the mainland? Because he'd never seen a queue of more than 3 cars before. Moving back inland, we land in Northamptonshire, the county of spires and squires. It's smack bang in the middle of England, which means it's not really famous for being in the north, south, east, or west. It's just central. It's got a deep history in shoemaking and more recently has become a hub for logistics and motorsport thanks to Silverstone. It's a place of rolling countryside and impossibly pretty honey-colored stone villages, especially in the west of the county. But it's also a practical, no-nonsense place. The vibe is increasingly seen as a more affordable Cotswolds of the Midlands. It has picturesque villages with stone cottages, grand country houses, and a relaxed bohemian spirit. Like, why did the Bat get a driving ticket? Because he was speeding down Batsman's Drive in Rushden. It's a county that's becoming increasingly popular with those looking for a slice of countryside life within commuting distance of London. Let's get into the numbers. The average house price across the county is around £313,000. Renting is an average of about £928 a month. You can find a two-bed for between £900 to £1,150. The average household income is around £37,000. For the best spots, if you're looking for safety, Wellingborough, Daventry, and Rushden are ranked as the safest larger towns. For a more upmarket feel, the area around Towcester has the highest average household income. Oundle, Towcester, and Brackley are lovely. For village life, check out places like Badby or Everdon for that perfect pub and a church vibe. Where to be cautious? Northampton is the most dangerous town in the county, with Kettering and Corby also having higher crime rates. And the major cons are the issues of poverty, health inequality, and the cost of living. And why is Northamptonshire the rudest county in England? Because it's home to a village called Coganhoe, a hamlet named Puxley, and a place called Cunts Lane. Yes, that was a real historical name. At number 26, we have Worcestershire, home of the unpronounceable sauce, the beautiful Malvern Hills, and the magnificent cathedral in Worcester. It's a county that feels quintessentially English, a proper mix of cider orchards, riverside towns, and rolling green hills. The vibe is a mix of historic charm and rural tranquility. Worcester itself is a small, friendly city. For the best spots, if safety is your priority, Wythall, Malvern, and Bromsgrove as being the safest areas. The city of Worcester itself is highly rated by locals for its quality of life. Let's get into the numbers. The average house price in Worcestershire is around £327,000. Expect to pay about £850 to £1,100 for a typical rental. The median salary is around £36,000, which is slightly below the UK average, but the cost of living is generally reasonable. Where to be cautious? Bewdley, Warndon, and Kidderminster have the highest crime rates in the county, but residents in Worcester complain about increasing traffic congestion, a decline in city centre retail, and a feeling that the suburbs are being overdeveloped, which is putting a strain on infrastructure and ruining the small city feel. But what do you call a secret agent from Worcestershire? James Pond, licensed to spill. Okay, another one. An American tourist walks into a Worcester pub and says, "Excuse me, bartender, can you tell me how to pronounce the name of this place?" The bartender leans in conspiratorially and whispers, "It's pronounced Worcestershire." But if you really want to sound like a local, just ask for a bottle of Leah and Perrins. Heading west, right up against the Welsh border, at number 25, we find Herefordshire, a deeply rural county on the Welsh border, famous for its cider, its world-renowned Hereford cattle, and its beautiful, unspoiled countryside. It's a place where the pace of life is slow and the connection to the land is strong. The vibe is quintessentially agricultural and peaceful. This is a county of rolling fields and apple orchards. If you're looking for proper, deep, rural England, this is it. This is the land of beef cattle, cider apples, and not a lot else. There isn't a single mile of motorway in the entire county, which tells you everything you need to know about the pace of life here. The city of Hereford is the county's only major urban center. For the best spots, if safety is your priority, Ledbury is ranked as the safest area in the county. And the market towns of Ross-on-Wye and Leominster are also popular for their charm and community feel. The average house price in Herefordshire is an affordable £278,000. Renting is also relatively cheap, with an average of around £790 to £950 a month. However, the economy is a major challenge. The average household income is low at around £43,000, and wages are significantly lower than the national average. And crime points to Leominster and the city of Hereford as having the highest crime rates. And that brings us to the major con for Herefordshire, its isolation and lack of infrastructure. The county's rural nature means that transport links are poor, and broadband connectivity has historically been an issue. And why should you never live south of the river in Hereford if you work north of it? Because it floods, and the traffic is a nightmare. Next up, we have a curiosity. It's Rutland, England's smallest historic county. Its motto is multum in parvo, which is Latin for much in little, and that sums it up perfectly. It's basically two market towns, Oakham and Uppingham, and a massive man-made lake called Rutland Water, all surrounded by some of the most unspoiled countryside you'll ever see. The vibe is posh, but in a very understated, old money kind of way. It's all tweed jackets, Land Rover Defenders, and stone cottages with roses around the door. Because it's so small, there's a real sense of community here. It feels like everyone knows everyone. It's incredibly safe, clean, and ridiculously pretty. It's like the Shire, but with a sailing club. Best neighborhoods and spots. Honestly, you can't really go wrong. Both towns are lovely. For village life, look at places on the peninsula in the middle of Rutland Water, like Hambleton, which is eye-wateringly expensive, but just about perfect. And the numbers. Median home price is surprisingly hefty, £338,000. Small county, big price tag, with an average rent range of around £900 to £1,200 a month if you can find a place. And median household income is decent, around £38,000. You need it. Avoid thinking you can just pop to the shops for a pint of milk after 6 p.m. That's about it. In terms of crime, it's one of the safest places in the country. The biggest danger here is probably being run over by a horse. The major con is its size and isolation are a double-edged sword. Cambridgeshire, a county of two completely different worlds. In the south, you have the city of Cambridge itself, a global center of genius, history, and eye-watering expense. Then you have the rest of it. The vibe is split right down the middle. Cambridge City is buzzing, intellectual, and full of tourists, cyclists, and students from every corner of the globe. Let's talk numbers. The county median home price. In Cambridge City, it's over £500,000. An average rent range. A flat in Cambridge could be £1,700 plus. A house in Wisbech might be £800. Median household income varies wildly, from about £31,000 in Fenland to over £44,500 in South Cambridgeshire. Best neighborhoods. In the south, villages like Grantchester are idyllic. Ely, with its magnificent cathedral rising out of the fens. The market town of St. Ives is also a real gem. Parts of Peterborough have a reputation for being rough. In the fens, towns like Wisbech and March face significant economic challenges and can feel quite isolated. Gloucestershire is another county that sells a very specific dream. For most people, it means one thing: the Cotswolds. It's the England of Hollywood movies, impossibly beautiful limestone villages, rolling hills, and cozy pubs with roaring fires. But there's more to it than that. there's the Forest of Dean, the city of Gloucester, and the Regency elegance of Cheltenham. The vibe is a mix of agricultural heritage and serious money. The numbers: median home price is around £377,000, but expect to pay way more in the Cotswolds. Average rent range is about £950 to £1,300, with Cheltenham being a particular hotspot. And median household income is around £37,500. In the Cotswolds, take your pick. Bourton-on-the-Water, Stow-on-the-Wold, Painswick. They're all stunning. Cheltenham is fantastic for its shopping, festivals, and architecture. For something a bit different, the villages in the Forest of Dean have a unique, slightly wild feel. The major con is the Cotswolds effect. The sheer popularity and wealth of the Cotswolds casts a huge shadow over the rest of the county. It drives up house prices everywhere, making it unaffordable for many locals. And a tourist in a Cotswold pub asks the landlord, "Does it always rain here?" The landlord replies, "No, sometimes it snows." And on other days, the roads are blocked by David Beckham's Range Rover. On to Cheshire. It's a county with a very distinct image. It's famous for cheese, the Cheshire cat, and being the home of a frankly ridiculous number of footballers. This is the heart of the Golden Triangle, an area of immense wealth where hedge fund managers and Premier League stars live in gigantic houses with high gates. The vibe is flashy, there's a lot of money here, and it isn't always quiet about it. In towns like Alderley Edge and Wilmslow, you'll see more supercars than you can shake a stick at. But that's only one side of it. The historic city of Chester, with its Roman walls and black and white Tudor buildings, is beautiful and has a more grounded feel. And the numbers: median home price is about £285,000 on average, but in the Golden Triangle, you're talking millions. Average rent range from £800 in some towns to £2,500 plus for a house in the desirable spots. And median household income is very healthy £41,000, one of the highest outside the southeast. Best neighborhoods. If you have the money, the villages within the Golden Triangle, like Pressbury, are where you want to be. The city of Chester is fantastic for just about everyone. For a quieter life, the sandstone villages like Tarporley are stunning and feel a world away from the bling. All right, let's keep this train rolling. We're breaking into the top 20 now. These are the counties where the good starts to seriously outweigh the bad. Let's get into it. At number 20, we land in the mystical, cider-soaked lands of Somerset. It's a place of immense natural diversity, with the wild hills of Exmoor, the limestone Mendips, the flat, watery expanse of the Somerset Levels, and the historic cities of Bath and Wells. The vibe is a quirky mix of agricultural tradition and New Age spirituality. It's a place where you can find grizzled farmers drinking scrumpy cider in one pub and crystal-wielding hippies in the next. It's famously laid back, creative, and a little bit weird. The cities of Bath and Wells bring a touch of Georgian elegance and ecclesiastical grandeur to the otherwise rural landscape. And the numbers: the median home price is fairly steep £315,000, with average rent between £900 to £1,200. And median household income is roughly £33,500. Best neighborhoods and spots in the city of Bath is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and simply one of the most beautiful cities on earth. Wells, England's smallest city, is equally charming. The market town of Frome has become a trendy bohemian hub packed with independent shops. The coastal resort of Weston-super-Mare can feel a bit dated and tacky. The town of Bridgewater is functional. The major con is low wages and poor infrastructure. Somerset is a poor county. Wages are significantly below the national average, making the high house prices driven up by people moving from London and Bristol completely unaffordable for many locals. Outside of the M5 corridor, the rural roads are slow, and public transport is sparse, making it a difficult place to get around without a car. Next, East Sussex is a county of two distinct personalities. On the one side, you have Brighton, fiercely independent, bohemian, creative, and proudly weird. Then you have the rest of the county, which is much more traditional. It's a land of genteel seaside towns, the rolling South Downs, and historic battlefields. The vibe is the same. In Brighton, it's energetic, liberal, and young at heart. In towns like Eastbourne or Bexhill, the pace is much slower, popular with retirees, and it feels like a classic English seaside resort from a bygone era. Then you have lovely, historic towns like Lewes and Rye. The median home price is £370,000, driven way up by the Brighton effect. And average rent, expect to pay between £1,100 to £1,600 for a two-bed and much more in Brighton. Median household income is around £35,000. Some of the coastal towns further east, like Hastings and St. Leonard's, parts of Eastbourne away from the seafront, can also feel quite neglected. The major con is the cost of living is absolutely brutal, especially in and around Brighton. It has London prices without London wages. The housing market is a nightmare for buyers and renters alike. Sliding in just above its eastern neighbour, we have West Sussex at number 18. If East Sussex is the rebellious, creative sibling, West Sussex is the one that got a sensible job in the city. It's a county of immense polish and prosperity, defined by the rolling beauty of the South Downs, a charming coastline, and its easy access to London. The vibe is affluent, orderly, and very civilized. This is classic home counties territory. Life revolves around pretty market towns, country pubs, and sailing clubs along the coast. It's less flashy than Surrey, but has a similar feel of comfortable, leafy prosperity. It's home to major events like glorious Goodwood horse racing and the Goodwood Festival of Speed, which tells you a lot about the local economy. The median home price is hefty £405,000, and expect to pay average rent £1,200 to £1,600 a month. The median household income is very strong, £41,500. The cathedral city of Chichester is beautiful and cultured. Towns like Horsham and Haywards Heath are perfect commuter hubs with a great quality of life. The castle town of Arundel is stunning, and villages like Petworth are packed with antique shops and charm. But the coastal town of Bognor Regis has a reputation for being a bit run down. The major con is the A27. This single road is the bane of every West Sussex resident's existence. It's the main artery that runs east to west along the coast, connecting all the major towns, and it is chronically, infuriatingly congested. Up to the far northwest now, to the magnificent wilderness of Cumbria. Let's be honest, when you think of Cumbria, you're thinking of the Lake District. It's home to England's highest mountain, its deepest lake, and arguably its most breathtaking scenery. It's a place of immense, raw, and often moody beauty. The vibe is all about the great outdoors. This is a place for walkers, climbers, the towns and villages within the national park, like Ambleside and Keswick. But there's another side to Cumbria. The west coast is post-industrial, and the major city, Carlisle, is a historic border town with a gritty, no-nonsense character. For sheer beauty, it's hard to beat Keswick or Grasmere. The market town of Kirkby Lonsdale on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales is an absolute gem. For a more affordable base with great access to the fells, Cockermouth is a fantastic choice. Here the median home price is £215,000, but this is one of the most misleading stats on the entire list. And the average rent range is £700 to £950. Again, much higher in the lakes. Median household income is roughly £34,000. The west coast towns like Barrow and Furness and Whitehaven face real economic challenges. They are geographically isolated, and the decline of traditional industry has hit them hard. The major con is tourists. The very thing that powers the economy is also its biggest curse. In summer, the Lake District is completely swamped. The narrow roads become car parks. A visitor asks a Cumbrian farmer, "Does it ever stop raining here?" The farmer replies, "I don't know. I've only been here 30 years. Heading back down to the south coast, we arrive in Dorset. This is a county that feels like a classic children's storybook brought to life. It's the land of Thomas Hardy, The vibe here is slow. Things don't happen in a hurry in Dorset. It's a place that values tradition, politeness, and the simple pleasures. The coastline is the main draw, from the golden sands of Bournemouth and Poole Harbour home to the ludicrously expensive Sandbanks Peninsula to the dramatic cliffs at West Bay. Inland, it's all rolling hills and sleepy market towns. Best spots? The town of Sherborne, with its abbey and castles, is stunning. Lyme Regis is a beautiful fossil hunting town. For villages, you can't beat Abbotsbury or Milton Abbas. Bournemouth offers a lively, younger vibe compared to the rest of the county. And the numbers, median home price, is steep £350,000. Average rent is around £1,000 to £1,400 a month. And the median household income is about £34,500. Notice the gap? There aren't many truly bad areas in Dorset. Some of the suburbs of Poole and Weymouth are a bit tired and have pockets of deprivation, but it's all relative. The biggest thing to avoid is probably the A35 in summer, unless you enjoy sitting in traffic for several hours. It's often called God's waiting room for a reason. The population is one of the oldest in the country. Warwickshire is a county that punches well above its weight in the history and culture stakes. It's dominated by one man, William Shakespeare. His birthplace, Stratford-upon-Avon, is a global tourist magnet. But there's also the magnificent Warwick Castle, the Roman history, and the elegant town of Royal Leamington Spa. The vibe is a mix of sophisticated history and Midlands practicality. The southern half of the county, with Warwick, Leamington, and Stratford, feels affluent, leafy, and very home counties. It's cultured and well-kept. The northern part, with towns like Nuneaton and Rugby, is more industrial, down-to-earth, and has stronger links to the West Midlands. The villages around Warwick and Stratford, like Henley in Arden, are gorgeous. Warwick itself is a fantastic historic town to live in. And the numbers, median home price is around £325,000. Average rent is typically between £950 to £1,300, and median household income is a solid £39,000. The northern towns of Nuneaton and Bedworth have a very different character to the south, and they have a reputation for being rougher around the edges. The major con is the Shakespeare tax. Similar to Cumbria, the overwhelming success of its main tourist draw can be a real burden. Stratford-upon-Avon can feel less like a living town and more like a historical theme park. The streets are choked with coaches and tourists, prices are inflated, and it can be a nightmare for locals just trying to go about their business. Next, Norfolk is a county that feels like it's set apart from the rest of England, and geographically, it's famous for the man-made Broads, a vast network of rivers and lakes, and its endlessly huge skies. It's a place that forces you to slow down, to breathe, and to appreciate the subtle beauty of a flat landscape. The vibe is wonderfully unpretentious. The city of Norwich is a fiercely independent hub of creativity, packed with pubs, independent shops, and a stunning cathedral. The coastline is dotted with charming flint cottage villages and vast, sandy beaches. It's a county that feels genuinely unique, a little bit eccentric, and very comfortable with its own identity. Best spots? Norwich is consistently voted one of the best places to live in the UK. The North Norfolk coast is the real prize, with villages like Blakeney, Clay next the Sea, and Burnham Market, dubbed Chelsea-on-Sea for its poshness. And the numbers, the median home price is reasonable, £290,000. Average rent range, around £850 to £1,100 per month, and median household income, roughly £33,500. Avoid some of the coastal towns like Great Yarmouth suffer from significant economic decline and deprivation. Inland, towns like Thetford can feel a bit disconnected and lack opportunities. The major con? It's isolation. There's a running joke that Norfolk is cut off from the rest of the country. A man is driving through Norfolk and gets lost. He stops and asks a local farmer for directions to London. The farmer thinks for a moment, scratches his chin and says, "Well, sir, if I were you, I wouldn't start from here." Next, Devon is the quintessential English holiday dream. It's the only county to have two separate coastlines, a wild, rugged north coast perfect for surfing, and a gentle south coast of sandy coves and resort towns. In between, you have the wild, granite-topped expanse of Dartmoor and rolling green hills. The vibe is pure relaxation. It's a county built on tourism, farming, and cider. Life moves at a slower pace. The people are friendly, and there's a general feeling that you should probably be at the beach. Cities like Exeter offer a dose of history and culture, but the real soul of Devon is in its coastal towns and rural villages. The South Hams area is stunning, with towns like Salcombe and Dartmouth being yachty heaven. On the north coast, Croyd and Woolacombe are surf hotspots. For a more sophisticated feel, the town of Topsham on the estuary is a delight. And the numbers. Median home price is getting pricey at around £330,000. Average rent is between £900 to £1,250, and median household income is approximately £33,000. Like many seaside counties, the bigger resort towns like Torquay and Paignton have their share of social problems away from the tourist-focused seafronts. Grockles, that's the local, slightly derogatory term for tourists. In the summer months, Devon's population swells, and the infrastructure creaks under the strain. The roads, particularly the narrow country lanes, become completely clogged. The beaches are packed, the pubs are full, and you can't get a table at your favorite restaurant. For locals, the very industry that keeps the county afloat makes everyday life a misery for a third of the year. Next is Royal Berkshire. It gets the royal prefix because it's home to Windsor Castle, and that regal, upscale feel permeates much of the county. This is a place of immense economic clout, a key part of the UK's Silicon Valley along the M4 corridor, and home to some of the nation's most famous events, like Royal Ascot. The vibe is a mix of ancient prestige and modern corporate efficiency. You have the tourist-filled, historic splendor of Windsor on one side, and the bustling commercial hubs of Reading and Slough on the other. It's a wealthy, fast-paced, and incredibly well-connected county, but it can sometimes feel more like a collection of towns along a motorway than a single cohesive place. Historic and beautiful Windsor is obviously the main draw. The villages along the Thames, like Pangbourne and Cookham, are idyllic. The market town of Newbury has a great quality of life and is surrounded by beautiful countryside. And the numbers? Median. Home price is at London level £440,000. Average rent range is steep £1,300 to £1,700. And median household income is extremely high, at around £46,000. Avoid Slough. It's unfair and mostly down to a certain TV show, but Slough has a national reputation as a grey, uninspiring concrete jungle. Parts of Reading, away from the centre, can also be quite gritty. It lacks a soul. What's the motto of Slough? At least we're not Swindon. Next, Hampshire is a powerhouse of a county. It's a place of immense variety, combining a deep maritime history with some of England's most beautiful countryside. The vibe is a mix of affluent commuter belt efficiency and rugged seafaring tradition. You've got the naval city of Portsmouth, the major port of Southampton, the ancient capital of Winchester, frequently named the best place to live in the UK, and for good reason. The villages in the New Forest, like Lyndhurst and Brockenhurst, are idyllic. For riverside living, Stockbridge in the Test Valley is fly fishing heaven. The countryside is proper Jane Austen territory, with chalk streams and leafy villages. And the numbers? Median home price is formidable, £375,000. Average rent is about £1,100 to £1,500, and median household income is very strong at £40,500. Avoid parts of the big cities, Southampton and Portsmouth, are gritty and have significant areas of urban deprivation. Some of the 1960s-era towns like Havant and Andover can feel a bit soulless and lack the charm found elsewhere. The major con is, as always, traffic and sprawl, combined with the major ports and motorways, means traffic is a constant, soul-destroying headache. But still, it's a county that feels prosperous, well-run, and well-connected. Breaking into the top 10, Kent is famously known as the Garden of England, and it's a title that's well-earned. It's a county of orchards, hop gardens, and beautiful rolling countryside, but it's so much more than that. It has the historic cathedral city of Canterbury, the iconic white cliffs of Dover, and a coastline dotted with trendy, revitalized seaside towns. Its vibe is complex. It's the gateway to Europe, a major commuter belt for London, and a traditional farming county all at once. In recent years, towns like Margate and Folkestone have developed a cool, arty scene, attracting Londoners and creatives. Canterbury is a medieval marvel. The spa town of Tunbridge Wells is elegant and affluent. For village life, you can't beat places like Goudhurst or Chilham. The coastal town of Deal has become a real foodie destination, and the numbers, median home price is around £365,000. Average rent is between £1,000 to £1,400, and median household income is a solid £38,500. And avoid the Medway towns, Chatham, Gillingham, and Rochester have a tough industrial reputation and struggle with social issues. Kent is pulled in so many different directions that it struggles to have one single identity. But the biggest, most undeniable negative is the traffic. The M25, M20, and M2 are not just motorways. They are often vast, linear car parks. The sheer volume of traffic heading to London, the ports, and the Channel Tunnel means that Kent is home to some of the most reliably awful traffic jams in the entire country. And what's the main difference between Kent and Yorkshire? In Kent, the roses are just flowers. Now for something completely different. Northumberland is the wild, empty soul of England. It's the northernmost county, bordering Scotland, and it's vast, sparsely populated, and breathtakingly beautiful. It has more castles than any other county, a stunning coastline of empty, white sand beaches, and the vast, starry skies of an official dark sky park. The vibe is one of epic history and rugged self-reliance. The people are famously friendly and down to earth, with a strong, proud identity. The market town of Hexham is a perfect base, regularly voted one of the happiest places to live in Britain. Corbridge is a beautiful Roman town. Along the coast, Bamberg with its epic castle, Alnmouth, and Warkworth are all stunning. And the numbers? Median home price is incredibly affordable, £195,000. You can find a place for £650 to £850 a month. And median household income is around £33,000. Okay, avoid some of the former coal mining towns in the southeast of the county, like Ashington and Blyth, have struggled economically since the pits closed. The only con is the remoteness. While the peace and quiet are a huge draw, the reality can be tough. It's a long way from any other major city. And did you know, why are Northumberland's castles so well preserved? Because for 500 years, their main planning policy was make sure it can survive a Scottish invasion on Tuesday. Okay, next, Suffolk is Norfolk's quieter, slightly more sophisticated younger sibling. It's a county of gentle, rolling countryside, picturesque wool towns, and a subtly beautiful coastline. This is the landscape that inspired the painter John Constable, and the vibe is calm, cultured, and very comfortable. It's not as remote as Norfolk, but it shares that feeling of being a world away from the rat race. The pace of life is slow, the towns are pretty and well-preserved, and the coastline is a mix of shingle beaches, estuaries, and charmingly old-fashioned seaside towns. Best spots? The seaside town of Southwold, with its pier, lighthouse, and colorful beach huts, is an absolute delight. Aldeburgh is famous for its arts festival, and fish and chips. Inland, the medieval towns of Lavenham and Long Melford are stunningly beautiful. Bury St. Edmunds is a fantastic and historic market town. And the numbers? Median home price is around £310,000. Average rent is typically £850 to £1,150. Median household income is a decent £35,500. Avoid the two largest towns, Ipswich and Lowestoft. They have areas with higher crime rates and social deprivation, and can feel a bit gritty in comparison to the idyllic countryside. The major con. It can be a bit too quiet. While peace is a major selling point, Suffolk can sometimes feel like it's been forgotten about. The infrastructure, particularly the A12 and A14 roads, can be poor, and the train services can feel slow and neglected. And how do you know you're in Suffolk? You overtake a tractor, and it feels like the most exciting thing that's happened all week. And taking the number 7 spot, we have Hertfordshire. If you were to ask an artist to create the perfect English home county, he would probably draw something that looks a lot like Hertfordshire. It's leafy, it's affluent, it has beautiful villages, historic cities, and it's an absolute dream for commuting into London. The vibe is one of comfortable, family-friendly prosperity. It's a place of excellent schools, low crime rates, and bustling market towns. It doesn't have the flashy reputation of Surrey or the royal prestige of Berkshire, but it offers an incredibly high standard of living. To the beautiful rolling Chiltern Hills, the cathedral city of St. Albans is a major highlight, with its Roman history, great pubs, and vibrant market. Towns like Harpenden and Berkhamsted are famously affluent and have fantastic schools. Hitchin is another gem, with its historic town square. And the numbers. Median home price is formidable, £480,000. Average rent? You're looking at £1,400 to £1,900 a month, and median household income is very high, at around £44,000. The post-war new towns, like Stevenage and Hemel Hempstead, lack the historic charm of the rest of the county. They are very functional and offer more affordable housing, but many find their architecture and endless roundabouts to be soulless. The major con? It's a victim of its own success. The biggest con is the sheer, unadulterated expense of it all. The cost of housing is astronomical, and you are paying a massive premium for those quick train links to London. More like a very green, very expensive extension of North London. But still, it's a county that quietly gets everything right. At number 6, we have Wiltshire, a county of rolling chalk downs, ancient history, and quiet market towns. It's home to some of the world's most famous prehistoric sites, Stonehenge and Avebury, and has a deeply rural and mystical character. The vibe is generally peaceful and historic. It's a place of wide open spaces, charming villages, and a slower pace of life. The city of Salisbury is the county's main urban center. For the best spots, Chippenham is ranked as the safest, larger town in the county. Let's look at the numbers. The average house price in Wiltshire is around £345,000. Renting will set you back between £900 to £1,200. The median household income is a respectable £38,400. Best spots? The cathedral city of Salisbury is beautiful and historic. Market towns like Marlborough and Bradford-on-Avon are incredibly desirable. For village life, Castlecombe is so ridiculously perfect. But the crime points to Salisbury, Swindon, and Trowbridge as having the highest crime rates. The con I can see is the military presence. A huge chunk of Wiltshire is taken up by the Salisbury Plain training area. This means huge swathes of the county are off limits. The roads are frequently clogged with military vehicles, and the sound of artillery fire can be a regular feature of life. A vital part of the UK's defense. And I asked a Wiltshire farmer, was it aliens that made these crop circles? The farmer chews on a piece of straw and replies, nah. That was just Dave after 8 pints of scrumpy last night. He gets creative with my tractor. Next, we are deep in the Premier League now. Buckinghamshire is the quintessential wealthy home county. It's a land of immense affluence, picture-perfect villages, and rolling green hills, all within a shockingly easy commute of London. It's home to the Prime Minister's country retreat, Chequers, and the famous Bletchley Park. The vibe is one of manicured, effortless wealth. This is one of the richest parts of the country, and it shows. The villages are immaculate, the pubs are gastropubs, and the schools are excellent. It's leafy, safe, and incredibly well-connected. The Chiltern Hills, which cover a large part of the county, provide stunning scenery for walking and cycling. Best spots? The towns of Amersham, Beaconsfield, and Gerrards Cross are the jewels in the commuter crown, beautiful, but eye-wateringly expensive. The market town of Marlow on the River Thames is stunning. For something a little more normal, the county town of Aylesbury is a more practical option. Talking about numbers. The median home price is staggering £450,000. Average rent is a London-esque £1,300 to £1,800, and median household income is one of the highest, at around £45,000. Avoid the new city of Milton Keynes in the north. It's a world apart from the rest of the county. It's famous for its roundabouts and concrete cows and lacks the history and charm of the south. The major con is the price and the pressure. The cost of living here is astronomical, second only to London and Surrey. Next, Oxfordshire is Buckinghamshire's brainy, more beautiful cousin. It's home to arguably the world's most famous university, and the city of Oxford is an architectural and intellectual marvel. But beyond the city, you have stunning countryside, including a large chunk of the Cotswolds, and some of England's most charming market towns. The vibe is intellectual, historic, and effortlessly classy. In Oxford, the energy of the students and the weight of 900 years of history create a unique atmosphere. The countryside is a rural idyll, full of honey-colored stone villages and riverside pubs. It's a county that feels both globally important and deeply traditionally English. Best places? Oxford itself is magical, particularly areas like Jericho and Summertown. The market towns of Henley-on-Thames, of Royal Regatta fame, Woodstock next to Blenheim Palace, and Thames are all incredibly desirable. The Cotswold towns, like Burford, are picture-perfect. And the numbers: median home price is £415,000. Average rent is a hefty £1,250 to £1,700. And median household income is very strong at £42,000. Avoid the city of Banbury in the north. It's more industrial and less picturesque than the rest of the county. Some of the housing estates on the edge of Oxford, like Blackbird Leys, were built to house the city's car factory workers and face more social challenges than the affluent city centre. The major con is that the cost of housing is completely disconnected from reality, making it one of the least affordable cities in the UK. Jumping up the list to number 3, we land in Cornwall. And I can already hear the keyboards clacking. Just hear me out. Cornwall is, without a doubt, one of the most breathtakingly beautiful places on this planet. The coastline, the beaches, the light. It's magical. It's the postcard dream of England. But this ranking is about what it's like to live somewhere, day in, day out. And that's where the dream starts to fray. The vibe in Cornwall is a tale of two counties. In the summer, it's a bustling, vibrant, sometimes chaotic holiday hotspot. In the winter, it can feel wonderfully peaceful, but also profoundly isolated. There's a fierce sense of local identity. Being Cornish is a big deal, but there's also a growing tension between the locals and the wealthy incomers buying up second homes. Now let's look at the numbers, because this is where it gets painful. The median home price is a hefty £281,000, according to the ONS, though you'll often see averages closer to £341,000. Rent is no bargain, either averaging around £950 to £1,300 a month. And here is the gut punch. The average gross disposable household income is only around £17,000 a year. Even in the wealthiest neighbourhoods like Truro South, the average net income tops out at just £32,800. That is a catastrophic mismatch. For the best spots, locals rate towns like Fowey, Truro, and Wadebridge very highly. If safety is your main concern, the stats point towards Falmouth, St. Agnes, and the ever-popular St. Ives. Where to be cautious: be more careful in the old industrial towns of Bodmin, Camborne, and St. Austell. Some of the poorest neighbourhoods, where the low-income reality really hits home, are concentrated around Penzance Quay and parts of Redruth. The major con of living in Cornwall: the paradise tax. This is Cornwall's great, tragic paradox. Its stunning beauty is the very thing that makes it so difficult to live in. The economy is hugely dependent on low-wage, seasonal tourism. At the same time, the insatiable demand for holiday lets and second homes from wealthy outsiders drives house prices through the roof. The result is a crippling cost of living crisis, where over 40,000 people literally cannot afford the basic essentials. A tourist pulls up next to a Cornish farmer and asks, "Excuse me, can you tell me the quickest way to St. Ives?" The farmer thinks for a moment and says, "Are ye walking or driving?" The tourist says, "Driving, of course." The farmer replies, "Well, that's definitely the quickest." Here we are. The silver medal goes to Surrey. If you were to design a super county in a lab, it would probably look a lot like this. It's the wealthiest part of the UK outside of central London. It's incredibly green and leafy, packed with beautiful villages, has some of the best schools in the country, and is right on London's doorstep. The vibe is one of supreme, unshakable affluence. This is Stockbroker Belt Central. It's a county of immaculate golf courses, exclusive private estates like St. George's Hill and high streets. For many, it's the pinnacle of aspirational English country living. Where to even start? Guildford is a fantastic county town. The villages of Shear and Abinger Hammer in the Surrey Hills are impossibly pretty. Towns like Farnham, Dorking, and Reigate offer a perfect blend of countryside charm and commuter convenience. And the prices, median home price is the highest on our list, at over £550,000. Average rent, don't even ask. You're looking at £1,500 to £2,500 plus a month. Median household income, the highest by a mile at over £52,000. There are no truly bad areas in Surrey, only less ridiculously expensive ones. Some of the towns closer to the London border, like Woking or Redhill, are more functional and less beautiful than the villages in the hills, but they are still safe and prosperous by any normal standard. The only con is, it's almost too perfect. Surrey can sometimes feel less like a giant, leafy, exclusive suburb of London. The cost of entry is so astronomically high that it creates a very homogeneous, undiverse social bubble. For all its beauty and wealth, some find it sterile, a bit smug, and gritty. It's the dream, but it's a very specific and very expensive dream. And so we get to number 1, the best county in England, and the winner is North Yorkshire. Why? Because it has everything. It has beauty on a scale to rival anywhere on this list, but with a down-to-earth character and a more affordable price tag. It contains not one, but 2 spectacular national parks. The rolling, stone-walled beauty of the Yorkshire Dales and the wild, heather-clad expanse of the North York Moors. It has a stunning, dramatic coastline with fishing villages and seaside resorts. And it has some of the most beautiful and historic towns and cities in the country. The vibe is one of immense pride, straight-talking friendliness, and a deep appreciation for the landscape. From the sophisticated spa town of Harrogate to the ancient Viking city of York, there's a huge variety of lifestyles on offer. It has that perfect balance of spectacular scenery and real working life. It's grand without being pretentious, and beautiful without being bankrupt. Talking about the prices, the median home price is very attainable at £240,000. Average rent? You can live well for £750 to £1,000 a month. And median household income is a solid £34,500. The affordability here is fantastic. Looking for the best places? The city of York is a world-class historical gem. Harrogate is an elegant, affluent spa town. The market towns of Knaresborough, Richmond, and Helmsley are all stunning. And the villages within the Dales, like Grassington or Reeth, are the stuff of dreams. But avoid Middlesbrough, which is technically on the border and often associated with the area. It's a heavily industrial town with significant social problems. But within North Yorkshire proper, there are very few places to truly avoid. If you had to pick a fault, it would be the sheer size of it. It's England's largest county, and getting from one side to the other can take an age, so you absolutely need a car. The weather can also be, shall we say, bracing. But honestly, these are minor quibbles in the face of everything it gets so right. So there you have it, all 48 counties from top to bottom. It's a list that I know will cause arguments, and that's the point. Write your thoughts in the comments. My number 1 might be your number 48, and that's the beauty of this country. It's a patchwork of fiercely different places, all crammed onto one small island. So, get out there, have a look for yourself, and let me know in the comments just how wrong I am. Cheers.